Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at yet another of the new Pan-Asian cruisers. Why? Because I like these ships and I'm having fun. And when I have fun, I am extremely motivated to review them again. And they're free. You don't need to pay money for them. I mean, once they come out, obviously. The Tech Tree line isn't out yet. But there was sufficient amount of event and chests and crates and whatnots around that I assume a somewhat decent amount of people actually has these ships already. So today we are looking at a ship from the People's Republic of China, you know, the other one. You can kind of see that on the red flag there. And that means generally that these things are not American, because the People's Republic of China is a communist country. And the Americans tend not to enjoy dealings with communist countries all that much, especially historically. So this is, and I believe this is pronounced the Harbin, but if it's not, then I'm going to make a fool of myself, because that's what I'm going to call it for this video. I did only find one pronunciation hint, and that said Harbin, so that's what we're going with. Why this name? Well, if we're looking at the details, then it says that this was a Soviet development, told you so, of the MK6 type project, whatever. And I was thinking to myself, hang on a minute, I've heard that before. And I was poking around at the Soviet Tech Tree for ages trying to figure out where it was, until I realized it's not in the Soviet one. But before we get to that, why name the ship Harbin? So I had a quick look, and that is a city in northeastern China. It is, however, been a city that has been taking a lot of refugees from Russia after the 1917 revolution, to the point where this was one of the biggest Russian cities outside of Russia. and as such, it kind of makes sense, you know, given that this is a Soviet design, but operated by the People's Republic of China, to name it after that city. So that made some sort of sense to me. Anyway, obviously not a real ship, not a thing that really happened. So, MK6, where did I see that before? We've seen it at Tier 9. The Dalian is the same ship, pretty much. So let's compare the Harbin, which is the free version, to the Tier 9 Dalian, which is the premium. And I liked the Dalian. I had a load of fun in that thing. So the Dalian gets proper smokes, not the fuel smoke, but regular smokes. She obviously gets the torpedo reloads. These are torpedo reload 2s. So it's the same thing as on the Harbin. These things take 90 seconds to reload, to come off cooldown. And she's got the same defensive AA. What she does not have is deep water torpedoes. So the Dalian can torpedo destroyers. The Harbin cannot. The Dalian is also has a little bit more hit points, and is a little bit faster, and slightly better on the engine as well. The speed is something that I did notice with the Harbin that was at sometimes a bit sketchy. The guns are technically, or should have technically been the same. I have no idea why the Dalian gets a refit. Maybe she's been refitted with newer destroyer guns at some point. Anyway, the better range, slightly faster reload, but and slightly better fire chance. But these aren't bad guns. These are still very, very nice destroyer caliber guns on the Harbin. Torpedo-wise, the Dalian reloads a bit faster, but does significantly less damage on the torpedoes. And as far as I remember, somebody said it looks like they forgot like an upgrade or something on these torpedoes, but I'm not sure. Anyhow, she's got slightly better range, but the torpedoes are also not causing as much flooding. So the Harbin torpedoes are nice torpedoes. 9 kilometer range, 4,000 points of alpha damage, and you get 12 of them, side-mounted obviously, with a 48-second reload, which is pretty darn quick. The AA is somewhat comparable, I'd say. A bit better maybe on the Dalian. And the Dalian has marginally better surface detection. But other than that, they're very, very similar ships. And you got to remember, the Dalian is a Tier 9. She gets into Tier 10 games. This thing is a Tier 8. So let's have a quick look what the progression is from the Chumphon in Tier 7. As we can see, we get a better fuel smoke, so that one lasts for 12 seconds instead of 9 seconds. And she gets the better torpedo reload because the torpedo reload 1 has a cooldown of 2 minutes, and that thing, torpedo reload 2, has cooldown only of 90 seconds. And then, yes, obviously, it's a different ship, so we can't really compare the rest of them, but it's the guns are definitely an upgrade from the previous one. But other than that, you still have the exact same problem that you have with most of the Pan-Asian cruisers. They're scout cruisers. They have very, very good damage output, but they have no armor, and they are very, very squishy. They have barely more hit points than destroyers, and they have citadels. So heavy cruisers, like things like German or American heavy cruisers, are making mincemeat out of these ships. So you can never sit still, and it generally pays well not to be spotted. As such, we are sailing with the Seaborne Assault because it's Tier 8, it's a tech tree. Not everybody keeps it. If somebody was to and got the unique camouflage, which again is one of those lazy camos, it's just blue, right? I don't know if I'm not too familiar with historical ships of the People's Republic of China, but would that have been their camouflage? I don't know. I mean, the ocean's blue, sky's blue, so it makes sense to make a ship blue, right? But you could get torpedo range, torpedo speed, traverse speed, and surface detection, which is all excellent things. So definitely, if you want to keep the ship and keep playing the ship at Tier 8, is a very good camo to have, although we are not using it because it costs money and not everybody wants to spend that on a ship that they're still grinding through. Equipment-wise, I think I'm running, let me double check here, but I think I'm running the exact same setup. Yes, it's the exact same setup. So main battery mode 2 for faster reload. We have to look at the elite bonus, don't forget Terry. Obviously propulsion mod, and yes, it's a concealment build because these things are pretty maneuverable, and concealment can be your only saving grace, but not always, especially that the ship isn't particularly fast. I can't remember. Yeah, she's a little bit faster than her Tier 7 predecessor, but I tend to get myself into trouble with this ship a lot more than I found on Tier 7 because I tend to play relatively aggressively with my cruisers. I do tend to play screening, so yeah. The guns are a little bit forward biased, which is good, so you can sort of go bow in, and because these 3 forward turrets are actually super firing, you can get 6 guns on target forward while being completely bow in, which is not a bad thing to be, because you don't certainly want to give that to, I don't know, a Vittorio Veneto or something like that at ranges that these things can hit. All right, before I forget that, the elite bonus. Yes, you can get speed. Now this one, generally, I'm really not too much about the kind of general upgrade ones. But the speed is actually, would have been tempting. So you could build this with, if you were to use this, I think that's a fair call as well, to get a little bit more speed out of the ship, because the speed can often be somewhat lacking, and you have, especially if you want to play the ships aggressively. But I'm going to go with the full Dakar build here, because I like these guns and I like shooting things. So if I wanted to play a torpedo boat, I'd be in a Kagro. And that gets the main guns down to almost 5 seconds reload, and the concealment down to 6.8 kilometers, which means you still can't outspot destroyers, but you should be able to outspot pretty much everything else in the game. With a torpedo range of 9 kilometers, that gives you a slight margin to play with the torpedoes. It's not massive, but you can stealth torpedo this ship. Commander-wise, I have literally just taken the same commander, I believe, and I'm still using the battlefield support for an additional Def AA, but you kind of going to the higher tiers, not really that useful because you have sufficient amounts of them. Torpedo alert is completely fine to use at level 2. Definitely the air defense expert. And yes, I'm playing with Daredevil because that thing is is running out of hit points very, very quickly. So the cooldown on the repair kit is also much welcomed, and exploit weakness obviously because you are a little bit of a fire starter. So, what do we have ourselves here then? Tier 8 is where it kind of starts getting serious. Tier 7, you can still get away with a lot of shenanigans, especially if you're top tier. And, you know, just run rings around the enemy team. But in Tier 8, things can sometimes get a little more twitchy. So, what if, you know, can you just be stealthy and torpedo things in this ship? No. I think you'll be starting to waste the potential of the ship, and you're gonna have to learn how to play this thing in the open. So let's get into some games. The first battle, we are top tier, and we're playing against Zeton, Takao, Cleveland, Fiji, and Akatsuki. Clevelands are nasty because these things have radar. And I'm not that much faster than them. And Takao has a relatively decent concealment as well. And Akatsuki can outspot me, so I might have to be a little bit careful. But I mean, who am I kidding? This is a fun ship. Anyway, we're playing Encounter on base on base capture. No, what? No, base capture on Encounter, Terry. This way around. And I'm spawning left flank. So how much do you want to bet that my team's going to lemming train? Especially that it's a, what was it? 5v5, I think? So armor piercing on just in case I'm going to spot that destroyer early. Otherwise, we might be better off with a high explosive. And the Kutuzov is... Where's the Kutuzov going? The bot's going right because, you know, I don't know. I don't know the logic with bot ships, but the Kutuzov goes right as well. So I'm alone here, which means, yeah, thank you very much for all the support. See you next time. So my mission has just changed. Either the enemy team is lemming training to the right, and they're even calling the lemming train, and I'm just like, shall I tell them? Nah, it's fine. So I'm going to go scout here and see if I can find something. I should be able to outspot these people with not too much of a difficulty. Okay, there's the Takao and the Cleveland. But I have... And there is the Zeton as well. So torpedoes away, but I think the Takao was sneaky enough that he spotted me. So... torpedo reload, smoke up, and Cleveland might be having radar ready, but I am going to get out of here. There come the shots in, so my mission is to hold this flank. So I'm just going to torpedo spam these people. There comes the radar. Takao is starting to take some torpedoes, and if we go to the high explosive, Zeton shouldn't be a problem at this range. Cleveland setting me on fire. A couple more torpedo hits. Ow! Okay, I just... I take that back. The Zeton is a problem at this range. Okay, it's more torpedoes off. Lost one of my launchers. And there's also the Fiji. Okay. So, yes, the team has lemming train down this way, while my team's lemming training down the other way. And I'm out of hit points. So, I need to run away. But I'm not expecting to survive this. What I am expecting, however, is prevent these people from capping. So, I'm going to try and get myself out of here. Unfortunately, I am too far... I'm too close, I think. I mean, the Fiji is not going to spot me, but the Fiji is just playing with the bot there. So let's just lob more torpedoes in the general direction of that Cleveland. And then use the smoke again, just to delay them and get out of there. Alright, so maybe it's time to get undetected. The Fiji has been distracted by the bot. But the Cleveland is clearly somewhat afraid of these torpedoes. So he is not coming in a straight line for the capture circle. The Takao, I'm not sure if he's planning to come along or if he's also spending some time back there, but I am totally going to keep spamming these torpedoes. And now I'm far away, and the Cleveland is a little bit slower than me. Now I'm far away enough that that I can just, you know, kind of spam torpedoes in his direction and distract him. Now he is looking at the carrier, so once my heal comes off cooldown, I may be able to use my guns again. Hello, Mr. Cleveland. Shall I wait for the torpedoes? I mean, maybe I can get a little bit of a better angle. He's busy for shooting at the carrier, but he's not going for the capture circle because he still knows that I'm around here. So let's just drop some more torpedoes in his general direction. I think the other launcher was damaged, so it's not reloaded. Okay, the carrier is dead, and now the Cleveland is going to go for the cap. So we'll keep spamming torpedoes in his general direction, and I am spotted. So more torpedoes, and now we start shooting at Cleveland, because literally that's why we're here. We're just here to delay these people And yes, Cleveland is turning away from the cup, presumably to dodge those torpedoes. I have some more torpedoes. Yep, there they come. You cannot get into that cup. That is my cup. And I'm not sure if that's a bot battleship or if that's one of our players, but I do have some battleship support here. So Cleveland, and at this range, Cleveland is not particularly dangerous to me. So if I can open up to over 8 kilometers or so, and that's another torpedo hit. Took out his rudder. There comes Takao, but see if I can turn the ship around. Ow, that could have gone better. But if he's damaged the rudder, then that's a perma double. See if we can get ourselves into torpedo range, because the Takao is now starting to cap. But we are already making capture progress here. So if I can just get another torpedo load going, and I think the Takao is slowing down. So yeah, he is slowing down. So let's get some more torpedo shots up. No, the Seaton takes me out. Anyway, we have set another fire on the Takao. We've got some more torpedoes away. Now they are obviously capping, but I'm not sure if I can get the Takao out of there. The Seaton is... No, the Takao is dodging those torpedoes. He knew they were coming. But we have... maybe not that one. It's a permaflood. And... what is that? Oh no, this is actually our King George. Okay, nice. So one of our battleships has returned and we've capped out. So holding them off for long enough to make sure that they are not capping has worked. Obviously, you play out in the open with the fuel smokes. They are really your saving grace, but you can still do decently, even if you are being chased by 3 or 4 enemy ships at the same time, just by going undetected. And we still came second in the team, so I would say not terrible. The second game is a tier 9 game. We are fighting Enterprise, Friedrich, Bismarck, double Cleveland, a Fenyang, and a Z-23. Now, I can't remember if the Fenyang has deep water torpedoes, but it doesn't matter. I'm in a cruiser, even though it doesn't play like one. So, Typhoon's Eye domination. I like domination maps. Domination maps always appreciated. And even though there is a carrier, I do have the fuel smokes. So I can use that to not have the dive bombers lock onto me if I manage to trigger it before they can see me and before the player can actually lock onto me. So I'm not afraid to go for D-Cup. That's where I'm going. And then we will see what we encounter there, but that's my cup. Okay, armor piercing because destroyers. And even though this thing does not have the utility of the destroyer hunter, she's got no radar or sonar, as usual, but she definitely has the firepower to be one. So if you're in a destroyer, be aware that these things are not particularly sturdy, and that Enterprise looks like he's coming straight my way, so fuel smoke is going to be up in a minute. Be aware that you can hurt these, but they can hurt you right back, because they have destroyer guns. These are scout cruisers. Okay, fuel smoke up, such that the Enterprise's dive bombers don't see me. And def AA up, and then we start shooting some of them down. While they are going for the battleship behind me, which is what they should be doing. And then turn, don't sit still in your fuel smoke, or go straight lines in your fuel smoke. So now I'm obviously spotted by those torpedo planes. Has he unloaded? He has unloaded, okay. So we're not shooting an awful lot of things down, but of course there comes one of the Clevelands. Well, so there's also a Z-23, dangerous little destroyer, even for me, but I am now undetected again, so let's immediately rectify that by starting to shoot at that thing. And of course the Cleveland is starting to shoot at me, but I want to deter the Z from coming over here. And I'm obviously not sitting still or sailing any kind of broadside. I just want to deter him from coming. Izumo, what are you doing? Why are you... okay, it's turret bugged, but it's just the two of us. You want to be in a defensive position. You do not want to be in an aggressive position, because you're coming under air attack from the Enterprise, and I think the Enterprise has zeroed in on the Izumo. So in a minute I'm going to be alone over here, and I'm doing what I can to give air cover, but it's not going to be an awful lot. And yes, Cleveland doesn't want to come over here, because Cleveland probably knows that I've got torpedoes. So let's make sure it stays that way. Here, have some torpedoes. I mean, they're useless against the destroyer anyway, so I may as well just fire them. And over to the high explosive, because Cleveland is a relatively sturdy ship, and I am not, at least for 130mm destroyer guns, so I am not necessarily going to do much with the armor piercing. Izumo is still alive, to my great surprise, and here come the torpedoes, but I think they either not have range, or the Cleveland should have no problem avoiding these. The thing with the Cleveland is not going to be able to... Oh, hello, Mr. Z. There might be torpedoes in the water. So let's not continue on our course, but turn left. Also, there is a Friedrich der Große out there. And that Friedrich der Große, where is he going? Okay, that's the Z. Now let's just shoot at the destroyer. Okay, the destroyer buggers off. And the Izumo is dead, has been torpedoed by the Z, to nobody's great surprise. And that means I'm alone in this capture circle. Well, it was the first casualty on our side, but this is my capture circle, and I'm now defending it against an Enterprise. Now, the Enterprise has different problems. Against the Cleveland, the Friedrich der Große, and the Z-23. And we've lost another ship. Okay. And we are holding 2 of the capture circles, and I know that the Z is out there somewhere. So let's go undetected. As long as these guys are not coming over here, let's see if we can get ourselves into sneaky torpedo range and maybe drop some torps onto that Freddy over there. I obviously can't rush him because, you know, Cleveland's got radar. Never going to torp the Cleveland, but the Freddy isn't coming, so well, we may as well try. Nah, he's already slowing down. So let's just saturate this whole area there. As long as these guys don't come over and I can hold this capture circle, then I'm actually all right with this. Now the carrier is joining me here, which is nice. And there's... Oh, Shokaku actually took out the Enterprise. Okay, he's gone for the carrier snipe. Well, that's potentially not particularly useful, because if he's getting spotted by... then that Friedrich der Große is going to make short work of him. So, Def AA up just to shoot down the last fighters, because these buggers are spotting me, and yes, of course, they're shooting at me. So fuel smoke, get out of the firing line of the Cleveland, especially the Freddy. I do not wish to be hit by anything that thing can output. And now it's 3 against 5. But we're still holding... Oh, no, actually make that 3 against 4. And we're ahead on points. That's nice flooding on the Freddy. Let's see if we can follow up. And he Damocons the flood. Let's see if he comes out from behind that rock there. So I'm going to drop the second load, then see if we can get... Oop, there come some shots in. That should be Cleveland, so it's not too bad, because Cleveland's got no accuracy at this range. But Freddy, I hope there comes a destroyer, is after our carrier. So I'll drop some more torpedoes just in case the Freddy is coming down this way. And I really would like to farm the Freddy now, but I think he's turning. Oh, he took 1, but I think the second spread is going to miss, because he has noticed that the torpedoes are there. Probably had his hydro running, smart. But the Shokaku is now being chased by the Fenyang, so I'm going to do something about that. Hello, Mr. Fenyang. Let me introduce you to my Soviet 130 millimeter guns. And again, I have absolutely no utility, obviously. As in, I don't have a sonar, I don't have a radar, but he smokes up. So I'll smoke up too, just so he doesn't know exactly where I am if he wants to launch torpedoes. And he is still, I'm not sure if that was AA or if he's shooting at something, but he has taken out the Shokaku, so it's now 4 against 2. But we're holding 3 of the capture circles, so now it's just up to me to kill that Fenyang. There come the torpedoes. Yep, you can get hit with those that easily. And you've been staying in your smoke for far too long, my friend, because you are very, very dead now. And I just have to stay away from the other guys, because we hold 3 of the capture circles. Okay, so Fenyang is dead, because he was the one who could spot me. Kagero decides that he wants a suicide run against the Cleveland. Kagero, we are 60 odd points ahead. If you die, we're still going to be some points ahead, and as long as we're holding the 3 capture circles, and that destroyer is going for B, which isn't going to help him, because it's only 30 seconds left in this game. Kagero, that's a Cleveland. Yeah, I think he just found out that there's a Cleveland. Yep, and the Cleveland takes out the Kagero. So I'm the last ship alive. But, you see, the thing is, we are ahead on points. It's 20 seconds left. We're holding 3 of the capture circles, even though that destroyer is flipping B, which is going to help him. He would have to kill me. If he went here to spot me, that would have helped him a lot more. So now it's just 10 seconds left, so I can just add insult to injury and open up at these guys. But it's too late, people. It's too late. We win on points. Now, of course, the sensible thing would have been to run away. But this is a fun ship. Anyway, is this a good ship? Yeah, hell yeah, absolutely. It's a great ship. Are you going to do like 100,000 points of damage? Maybe not. But it is a dangerous ship. And as such, with the amount of torpedoes it can spew out and the reload on these torpedoes, including the torpedo reload boosters that you have, and the fuel smoke and the relatively good maneuverability, you can often deter a superior force from coming somewhere where you don't want them to come. And do things like defend capture circles and, hold, slow them down, these sort of things. And that is a style that is just absolutely fun to play, in my opinion. It's more capable than a destroyer in that because of the, because it has a bit more hit points and it has definitely a lot more guns. So an enemy destroyer is going to think twice about rushing one of these things, even though they have deep water torpedoes, because you have 10 130s with a 5-second reload. They make very, very short work of your destroyer. And then everybody else, you just have to keep them at arm's length, and you have even some defense against an enemy carrier. So in that regard, just the same on the Pan-Asian cruiser line. They are high-skill ships. You kind of need to know what you're doing there, because if you try to play them broadside on, sailing around, you're not going to live very long. But if you've got good map awareness, or let's say you're a destroyer player and you're thinking of getting into cruisers, this is a very good first stepping stone, because you'll be feeling right at home, with the difference that you've got a lot of guns to work with, but now you have to be afraid of battleship armor piercing. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.